All right, it's time to answer that age-old question. How many species? I just erased it. How many species exist? The short answer, a lot. Okay, a tiny bit longer answer. Here we go. So it's estimated that 7 to 10 million species may exist. And this is currently, not that have ever existed. Okay, so that currently exist on the Earth. All right. Each year, we discover and name about 7 to 10,000 new species, so like a tenth of that. Mostly in the tropics. Tropical rainforests are home to 2/3 of the world's existing species, most of which have yet to be named. And that's because they offer a tremendous amount of biodiversity. So biodiversity, which is very rich in tropical rainforests, is the total number of species in an ecosystem. And don't forget, we're still talking not just about animals, but about plants, about fungi, about prokaryotes, okay, about protists. Number of named species is currently about 1.5 million. If you remember from the previous slide, we think that 7 to 10 million exist. Okay, so that's not a lot. Okay, of those 1.5 million, 5% are prokaryotes, 20% are plants and fungi, and the rest are animals. So again, we are biased. We are animals. We are biased towards the animals. So that's why the majority of species we've identified are animals. Okay, but there are other forces at play here, and I'll get to those in a minute. Okay, so we've only identified about 5,000 species of prokaryote. Okay, but if scientists look in just a single soil sample, they see about 4,000 different species of bacteria. And if they look at a soil sample of marine sediment, another 4,000. Okay, so even though we haven't identified and named all of those, and this is just one sample in one place, and there's so many bacteria. I can't even deal with it. All right. However, other than actual abundance, okay, there are other factors that influence whether a species is discovered and named. Size. It's hard for us to see bacteria, and who wants to stare into a microscope all day and look at 4,000 different bacteria and figure out what to name them all? I know I sure don't. Okay. Ease of classification. If two things are if you're going to spend years trying to figure out if two things are separate, we're probably just not going to even deal with them. Accessibility. How easy is it to find? There are lots and lots of species that exist in the rainforest, but it's hard for us to get to them. There are lots and lots of species that exist in the deeper oceans, but it's hard for us to get to them. Okay. And also the number of researchers that are looking for species. There's not many people out there looking for certain species, and they're not going to be found. Okay. Again, kind of hand in hand with this, because tropical rainforests are being destroyed so rapidly, there are species that may become extinct before we even know they exist. Yikes. Also, the unexplored deep sea floor may have hundreds and thousands of unknown species to discover. We're just conjecture as to what could be down there, because we can't get there. But there's got to be stuff down there. Okay. So again, how many species exist? A whole lot of species.